Get ready to tune in, turn back the dial, and rediscover the airwaves of yesteryear. This is Echoes from the Past, your backstage pass to the shows that changed everything.
All right, let's dive into the world of Bulldog Drummond. Quite the legend in crime fiction. Created by H.C. McNeil, Drummond is this tough, no-nonsense detective. You know, some people call him the prototype for James Bond, and honestly, that comparison makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Now, James Bond, he's this suave, refined spy, right? Bulldog Drummond? He's gritty, straightforward, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. Like Bond, though, he's got this unwavering sense of purpose. And let's be real, this sense of heroism that's larger than life. That post-World War I vibe, a man looking for his purpose after the war, is just so compelling. And then there's the Black Gang, this group of loyal followers who work with him to, let's say, reform criminals. Their tactics? Definitely not by the book. Drummond and the gang, they weren't just arresting people. They were, I guess you'd say, finding creative ways to ensure these crooks learned their lesson. I mean, it's wild to think about. The whole idea of taking justice into their own hands, it really pushes boundaries when you look at it through the lens of modern crime fiction. Plus, these stories, they have that charm, that nostalgic touch that just pulls you in, you know? There's this mix of adventure and justice, and it makes you think about how we frame heroism. Like, what does it take to be a hero? Is it just brute strength and moral conviction, or is there more to it? All right, so let's talk about what goes into producing something like Bulldog Drummond, especially now with the Humphrey Camardella Productions team. This series started in 2007 and has been around up until 2025? That is a massive timeline, and kind of impressive when you think about how much work goes into making a radio drama feel alive. One of the unique things about this show, and really old-time radio in general, is the blend of storytelling and sound. It's not just the dialogue, right? It's those sounds, the footsteps, the clattering doors, the stormy nights, that create this immersive world. But I mean, here's the thing. With those original radio styles, challenges come up all the time, especially around audio quality. Of course, nowadays they have digital tools to remaster and clean things up, but back then, it was tape and manual recordings, messy but magical. What makes it even trickier is how they handled the commercials. In some ways, they were part of the show itself. You'd have characters casually plugging soap or a car battery mid-plot. But, you know, for people like me, it's all part of the charm. It reminds us of a style of broadcasting that was totally authentic to its time. I gotta share this. I actually got into old-time radio because of a gift from my dad. He handed me these cassettes of shows like The Shadow and, Bulldog Drummond. I was probably 10 or 11. I wasn't just listening, I was transported to another time. And I remember thinking, wow, someone out there made this, and it's still here for me to enjoy. That was no joke. One of the first times I thought about media as something that could really last. It's one of the reasons I got into podcasting, to create something as timeless as those shows I loved. And really, the Bulldog Drummond series? It's a perfect example of why older-style media still connects. It's about exceptional storytelling, and how a good character can carry a whole world, don't you think? When you look at Bulldog Drummond's global reach and enduring popularity, it's not hard to see why these stories still resonate. They've been shared across so many regions, from Europe to Asia to the Americas. And what's amazing is that they've remained accessible in such a variety of formats, even as technology, and the way we consume stories, has evolved over the decades. But it's more than just availability on podcasts or streaming platforms. It's about preserving something culturally significant. These shows are windows into a time, when storytelling wasn't just a form of entertainment. It was how people stayed connected. They'd gather around a radio, and the whole family would listen together. That kind of shared experience? Honestly, it feels like a lost art. And you see it in the reviews, too. There's this thread that runs through them, this appreciation for the storytelling, despite the technical glitches or the, let's call it, dated audio. People get it, right? They understand this is history, preserved in sound. And hey, I've got to admit, I'm right there with them. Now, speaking of storytelling, if you haven't heard the episode Ride in the Moonlight yet, do yourself a favor. It's easily one of my favorites. The way it builds tension with these tiny, quiet moments followed by bursts of action. It feels like you're there, in the middle of the chase. It's masterful stuff, and it shows how much thought went into every aspect of these shows, from pacing to sound design. So, why does Bulldog Drummond, or really any of these vintage series, matter today? It's simple. They remind us of the power of imagination. You didn't have flashy visuals or CGI back then. It was just voices, sound effects, and your own mind filling in the gaps. That's why this medium stands the test of time. It invites you to be an active participant in the story. And with that, we bring our journey through the timeless appeal of Bulldog Drummond to a close. Whether you're rediscovering these stories or hearing them for the first time, I hope you feel a little of that magic, that sense of connection. Thanks so much for joining me today, and hey, until next time, keep those imaginations fired up. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the airwaves of the past. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the classic radio shows that shaped generations and left a lasting legacy. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode of Echoes from the Past. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to share it with fellow fans of history, storytelling, and vintage radio magic. Until next time, keep your dial set to the golden era and let the echoes of the past remind us of the timeless power of radio.